Shit, I am small. Hold on. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's one hell of an intro. And today we're back for another little Christmas-esque sort of stream, because we did one kind of last year. That was more Transformers collection sort of focused because, yeah, I kind of want to do something a little bit different. Um, that, and I didn't really have anything planned art-wise, just because I haven't really had enough time to draw a whole lot because I've been just way too busy with other projects and too addicted to this new Jurassic World game. But that's something we're going to be definitely changing for this new year. Um, we're going to start to be a bit more prolific when it comes to art and my draw streams and all that because I kind of had to take a nosedive for a bit because in September I was learning spray paint art and it was a big part of my Christmas presents this year, so I had to get that done early. So and I've just been taking a lot of out of town work as well. So I was like kind of just like in a weird spot. My drawing and all that. And for those who are an artist as well, you kind of know that if you take a certain amount, a big time off of your drawing, it can kind of screw with your ability quite a bit if you're not practiced like 24/7. So let's get into what's that? Oh, I kind of like that. Kind of like the candy canes. But today we're going to be talking about the collection. We're going to kind of go through the what we got done this year, as well as maybe talk about the future, as well as and some anticipated releases this year, as well as maybe you could do like a little bit of a. If we have time, we'll do a tier list at the end. I have a few um, kind of ranking my figures of the year, which doesn't really necessarily mean they're figures that came out this year, but they're ones that I got this year that might have been older, came out a previous year and stuff. But yeah, I got four kind of main sort of dockets today. So we'll kind of start with the first one, which is going to be kind of a little bit of a review of. We're going to kind of go through my collection video I just released, and I'll just kind of go over some of the changes to the collection, like what new characters have been added, the new dioramas. Might be hard to give a full like in depth. I'm not gonna do full in depth on the dioramas specifically because I'm thinking about doing like a whole streaming series where I just kind of go over the diorama itself um, at some point because I think that because the problem with my diorama streams back in the day was like it was hard to kind of show off the end result of the diorama like at the end of the stream and all that because it was just like I had a very very shitty setup back then. Still kind of do. I'm still kind of working on it. So I think that doing an overview stream like series would be a good way to kind of explain my thought process, like the um, the planning stages. Like kind of just like what went through my mind when I was kind of choosing locations for certain characters and stuff like that. So, but without further ado, I think we'll get my screen share on and just open up my YouTube. Let me just there. Okay. Just want to make sure nothing was showing. All right. So without further ado, here's the video, and yeah, I think I did a pretty decent job editing this. Not gonna lie, but I was gonna kind of skip through. Oh, this is actually. I'll stop here real quick. This is a new addition to the collection that we're kind of starting this year. That's the. Oh my gosh, it's too slow, too fast for me. That's the Joy Toy Ninja Turtles. These are the ones I just got. They're very very cool little figures, like 4 inches tall, and you know what? Actually, I'll save that for a little bit later on in the stream. For when we get to the expansion talk, because that's gonna be a big part of that. But yeah, you see the kind of the main collection. This is the season 1 shelf, season 1 and 2 bookcase. We're almost done here, and this is actually the first one that we actually will come across that we actually completed this year, which is the season 2 shelf. We just got Blitzwing this year, so yeah. Now, when I initially posted him on Twitter and showed him off, like he was actually in the middle here, but I decided to move them to the side, like the two triple changers to the side, and then put the cone heads in the middle because When I put Blitzwing here, he kind of was covering up the guys, like head and their face. He's like covering them up. So I just thought, you know what, let's just put them off to the side, put the cone heads in the middle. I think that looks a lot more sharp. They're not, obstructed in any way, really. So I think it's a much better shelf. And I decided to go with a Ramjet in the middle just because I think eh, it's just because Thrust has like these big wings in the back, and same thing with a Dirge. So I think that kind of works better. Um, like less obstruction and all that. But yeah, we just go down. We got our Constructicons that are new, and that's also a new diorama, or not. It's kind of an old diorama actually, but this is a new one. The Constructicons diorama we did this year. Hey, Deadman, good to see you. We're just getting started here. Into you again, but I have to get sleep for our New York stream. Damn. Oh, New Year's stream. You meant New York. New Year's streaming. Yeah, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, if you want, send me a link. Throughout the day, I'm not gonna be doing much tomorrow, so it's the cost of having days off during the holidays. But yeah, I'll happily join in if you guys want. Maybe I'll play my Jurassic World game for y'all or something. I might it might affect the bandwidth on the stream, so I don't know if I want to do that, but yeah. So this is the new diorama, or one of the new dioramas we did this year, as well as the new figures. These are the Constructicons, and we're just shy of 2 more that are gonna go in the corners here, and that will be our whole Decepticon season 1 and 2 just collection all done. And not a new diorama here this year, but a new figure, which was Dead End, which kind of rounds out the rest of this whole crew, the Stunticon crew. So this is an older sort of diorama, which I really love. Like, it's one of my favorites actually. The more I'm like kind of like looking at it, like it was like, I don't know, it's just like it. When I finally got when I got the initial idea for it, it was like I knew this was gonna be a knockout one, because like I just really like the idea of using like these like um old sort of toys to kind of use as beat up like cars from like an old like demolition derby. But don't want to go too much into the dioramas actually. I kind of want to save that because I still want to do like a whole series where I kind of go through all the dioramas, the thought process, and all that. Because I can't really do a whole lot of that on my diorama streams, because mostly diorama streams are just mostly me just painting. So um and just kind of thinking about the painting process where I'm in the moment, rather than just kind of able to, like, because it's hard to kind of articulate my thought process those moments. But yeah, here's a new diorama as well, and a new team that we finished off, because Magic Square was just banging out these Combaticons these past 2 years. Like, it was very fast turnaround, because they just upscaled their smaller legend scaled Combaticons. So it was a nice quick turnaround. And I really like the diorama. Like, the water effect was like a lot of fun to kind of come up with. Actually a very, very simple, easy effect to do. But yeah, we've just finished off this team though with Blastoff and Vortex coming in. So got a pretty cool looking crew here to get today, or before we ended this year. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to really come up with the idea for this one, which I'll kind of get to when I do those streams. I really want to do sort of more in-depth discussions on it. This was last year. There's the Bruticus, Devastator, and yeah. Let's see what else. We'll get to the Insecticons. I have a lot of this is the new one actually we just put out. This is the Bludgeon and Nightbird shelf, which is kind of like a very. It's meant to be kind of like a dark sort of like junk, like bamboo forest in like China or something like that. Like, because I needed something to kind of be the antithesis to the Autobot shelf on the other side, and because the other side of the shelves, which you'll see in a minute, they're all like samurai characters, like with Drift and Windblade. So I thought, well, we have a ninja and a samurai, so let's kind of do something similar. Let's kind of have like a kind of a dark sort of mirror of those characters on this side, that sort of thing. And Yeah, the trees were a lot of fun actually to do, which I because I what I did was I put a black wash on them, and that sort of because I was trying to go for like a very like dark nighttime sort of vibe here, to kind of make it match up with, and so they made make the because the trees I got they were like very very bright green, and so what I did was I put a black wash on top of that, like paint and water, just dipped them in the water, and then let them dry for a couple days, and then they came out looking a bit more like darker, have a bit more darker tone to the color, so it kind of blends in with the background and all that a bit more. So, and also these other little plants I also added and stuff like that, and little rocks, and yeah, it was a fun diagram to kind of come up with. There's my Insecticons, which might be moving back to where they used to be. And oh, there's our 6-shot shelf. We did this year as well. This was a lot of fun to kind of do as well. Very, very simple diorama, but it was also a very, very important diorama to do because of the water effects I got. Because this is all from Temu, like these little geysers, like that all came, like the whole, like this is kind of what I used for the shelf above in the with the bludgeon and all that, like in the bamboo forest shelf, where I use this kind of like gel thing on the water effects to kind of make it more. It just kind of adds like a kind of a more realistic sort of watery sort of texture to like the clay or whatever I was kind of using it on, and so that's where this came from. That whole idea came from this diorama when I did the geysers, and they are actually glow in the dark water paint on underneath. So if you put like a UV light on it, um, it will glow. Now I don't have this shelf lit up, which is one of the main things I really want to do this year is light up these other shelves that aren't don't have the lighting in. And oh, there's look at that barren looking shelf sound blaster. That'll probably be the next diorama we do though. Probably do this one next because yeah, we got some blockies because they're a new part of the collection that kind of just blew up because yeah, they're just like so much fun. They're like little Legos almost, kind of like Lego like mini like model kits that I can build because I cannot do like the last model kit I like most the last proper like model kit I did was Windblade. Um, yeah, it's probably gonna be the last one I do. So, but these ones I can do because they're a lot because they're not as they're just cheap uh, Hasbro plastic, so I don't have to worry about breaking them with my big old hands. But yeah, they're a lot of fun. They're not going to stay here. They're going to have their own sort of area at some point, which I'll kind of explain a little bit. But yeah, there's another old shelf, but I really love this shelf. It's always like I really need to get this whole shelf lit because this one's one of my favorites, the Galvatron shelf. And of course, the 86 movie shelf, which I might actually swap out the Magnus. I might for the fans toys, but not too sure just yet. Just because I really because like there's this like little upgrade kit you can actually get where you can it comes with a 3D printed sort of a skeleton for the armor Ultra Magnus has. Because and then you can take the Ultra Magnus that kind of looks like a white and blue Optimus Prime, and you can take that out of it and kind of have it be a separate figure from the actual Ultra Magnus sort of body here. So that's kind of why I want to go for that, the Fans Toys one now, which is like, almost like, but I still like really love this figure. It's still a really good Ultra Magnus. And there's another diorama we finished this year, which I didn't really get to show off a whole lot on stream, just because a lot of it was already done off air. Because all the planets and stuff, like the space background, was done all with spray paint, and I had to do that all outside. So I couldn't really live stream that. But so the most we did was just do the rocks here, and it's still not technically done. I might do some more work on it. I might go back and touch up the rocks a bit more. Add maybe some like dark energon purple like crystals or something like that, like because just to add a little bit extra color to the whole space here. Then I got the primes, the 13 primes and Shockwave, just because I have nowhere else to put them for now. I have a few ideas where I'm going to put these guys at some point, but they're just chilling here for now. I might put like a matrix up here, which is another thing I'll kind of get into when we get to the display challenge changes coming up, hopefully this year, or at least starting this year, maybe. But then this is where I put MP10. I used to have MP10 over here with the other carbides, but I just had to just put them off to the side and just kind of have just Prime on one shelf here, and Shockwave on the other side. I think it's just like what looks better. So, and this is what I meant earlier about having the sort of two samurai characters, because we have this shelf, which we finished last year. Actually, it was the last stream we did last year, which was the Cherry Blossom Mountain with the Windblade and Drift. So now there's kind of like yeah, we have nice little contrast with the Autobots and then the Decepticons with the samurai stuff here. So that's like, because I like to have a little bit of symmetry on the shelves, kind of have the, like, if there's like a rivalry between certain teams or groups or whatever, I like to have them kind of facing off like on opposite shelves, just because I don't know, it kind of just looks better to me, at least to me. There's an old shelf that I'll probably explain at some point. I'll explain more what I'm doing with the Fembots and the Insecticons in a minute, and there's a blank shelf looking good. Yeah, that's where Skyfire is going to go at some point, as soon as I get them. And we got some more blockies. These are kind of like my discarded or extras here, and then my whole Dinobots shelf, which I'm pretty proud of. And a small, super small Shattered Glass collection, which, for those who don't really know about what Shattered Glass is, who are not really familiar with the lore, Shattered Glass is basically a alternate universe in which the roles are kind of reversed. So the Autobots in this universe are actually the bad guys, and the Decepticons are actually the good guys. So it's that, just to kind of keep it simple. That's kind of the basics of it. There's a bit more to it, but yeah. So like this Megatron, so like all the so right now they only have two Decepticons though. That's the funny thing, is like they only have Soundwave and Megatron in the on the Decepticon side, so they're pretty much outnumbered, the good guys, because these are all evil versions of like Optimus Prime, Ironhide, Bumblebee, Sideswipe, so. But yeah, they're still making more though. I think they're coming up with a Starscream soon. So, but yeah, there's my Defense Force shelf, looking pretty good. X-Transbots, hurry up! And that's gonna be my future Omega Supreme shelf when I get them eventually. And we got a little Optimus Prime shelf. It's probably not gonna stay here. I'll kind of explain that in a minute. Now, this thing I kind of have to explain, is the new one for this year. So this is not actually the full Fans Toys Superion. This is actually the Fans Toys parts are only the feet, the hands, the gun, the thighs, and the torso. The arms and legs all came from QQT. QQT is basically a company that's kind of going around making 3D sort of add-on kits for your figures, for lack of a better term. So what they did was they made like a kind of a limb, the limbs and the legs and the torso unit, which is on the backside of Superion here. And so what that does is it allows you to, because usually this would be like just like an actual figure, like on the arms and legs, but because this guy made a whole like faux sort of arm or leg, it allows you to kind of display the actual figure in robot mode off to the side, and then while also keeping him combined, so to speak. Like, so that's why I got this kit. I'm probably gonna do that the same thing with if they come out with one for Defensor for X-Transbots. I might do that as well. Because for Defensor, I would just need the backpack anyways, like the back piece. So no, because that way I don't have to buy another hotspot, because I want to buy two hotspots, or I want to have a hotspot for bot mode and for combined form, which I'll kind of explain in just a minute. Let me get to the Autobot side. So, but here's the Dinobots season 1. Not much has changed here. Last year we got Trailbreakers. That kind of finished out that shelf, as well as Hoist. I think we got last year, and Blaster. I think we got those two last year, so that's what capped off these shelves. So a little bit of room for more if I need an extra bigger guy here, but yeah, I think we're good on these shelves though for now. So Only thing we're missing is Ramhorn, who is supposed to come pretty soon, actually, for me. But yeah, when he comes here, I think I got a notice on my tracker he's supposed to come, or at least he's in town right now. So probably maybe tonight or tomorrow is probably when he'll show up. So long as Canada Post doesn't take a holiday tomorrow, it's New Year's Eve. But yeah, Ramhorn, the little rhino is gonna go right here, and that will kind of cap off this whole shelf, which was a lot of fun to do. This whole Tokyo bit. And right here is we're moving a little too fast. Right here is another new shelf. This is the aerial bot shelf. This is kind of what I was talking about with the aerial bots, because the aerial bots are ones that combine into Superion up there. So because I got that upgrade kit, I don't have to have Superion in combined form. I can or Silverbolt here and a Slingshot in combined form. They can just be displayed on this shelf here, and then Superion can look all cool and badass on its own. So that's kind of why I got that sort of upgrade kit. Still need the last three. Still need to get the other three aerial bots, but for the time being, they're going to be surrounded by these three mini bots. Hopefully, this year we'll get the aerial bots going more. Because now the Combaticon, now we're kind of getting to near the end of the combiner teams for season 1 and 2. So that'll be nice. And I got another shelf here, and for the diorama we did Hollywood Hills, just because I felt like it was a kind of a good spot for them. So I think that the green kind of works for them, and it was kind of a different sort of location, a different sort of take on the mountains. Because I've done mountains before a million times, but I think I did but the way that the mountains I did on this one are just a little bit different, so it kind of stands out a bit more, as well as with the palm trees and all that, the moon, kind of in all the background. Like it feels a lot more different than the other ones. So that's why I kind of like this shelf a lot more. I kind of wish I did a bit more like mud or dirt on the ground here a bit, but it's fine. I think that this one has to be kind of very, very simple though, because the aerial bots are really big figures, so I gotta account for the space when they arrive, or when I finally get them. And to cap it all off, here's my petabots, which are almost done. Just need to wait for Extrandos because I've purposely skipped out on the MMC hotspot to go in the middle because I'll explain in a minute. Actually, I'll explain when we get to the anticipated figures of the year because it'll make more sense then. But yeah, we're still waiting for a hotspot, and yeah, this is a fun one to do. It's kind of very, very inspired by Bobby Skullface's, like very much with the police station and the fire department on the other sides. But did mine kind of similar to the way I did the Tokyo shelf, where I had a little bit of perspective. Well, I was playing with the perspective a little bit, where it kind of teeters off that way, and down the edges of the street there, which I'll kind of show off the Tokyo shelf as well, where it kind of just like teeters off this way and that way. It's hard to see because there's a whole bunch of figures here, but yeah, that's kind of like that's kind of what we did this year mostly. Trying to think if I've added anyone. So these are all new for this year, especially Streetwise because it was a pain in the ass to get them. But I think we got Groove and First Aid last year. Blades and Streetwise are what was new from this year. So yeah, and from the Protect the Bots, like pretty much it was just First Aid and Blades that were new. The arms. So just trying to think who else did we get this year. I think we covered pretty much everyone knows. Yeah, I think we just covered pretty much everyone. So yeah, that's the video. You can go and look up the video on my channel. It's my newest one, so you should be able to find it pretty easily. So with that, I'm just gonna open up my folder. And we're going to kind of go through what my plan is for the next year, or at least Not too sure if I'll be able to fulfill it uh, fully, just because there's gonna be a lot of things I gotta do this next year. But it's but I want to kind of talk about more in depth the expansion plan for the specifically for the Transformers room. I can't really talk about the other part of the room just yet. I'm still kind of working on the details of that. But yeah, we'll start with this one. And I'll share a screen. Okay. So this is what my room looks like on right behind me. So this is not my favorite part of the collection. That's why I don't really show it as much. Um, Although I do like the Batmobiles. I like the way the Batmobiles turned out on the shelf. But this is obviously going to be one of the big things that kind of changes this year. Maybe not, or maybe not this year, but it's definitely on the docket for being changed at some point. Um, and so the idea is to do something a little bit like this. Um, so the plan is to put two more Billy bookcases from IKEA on the left and right side, and then we're gonna keep this shelf right here. This one's gonna stay, but it's gonna go right in the middle, like kind of like right here where the X Mansion is and all that. That's gonna shift over, and this is kind of what it's gonna look like in the end, um, which I'll kind of talk about right now. So on the left side, this is gonna be mostly because I have no space for season 3 and 4 really in the main area. So I decided, well, if I can make this space here happen, I can probably fit them in here. So um, on the left side, we're gonna start it off big with Rodimus Prime on top. Don't really know who's gonna go with him. It could be Minerva, it could be people like the Autobot clones. Um, you know, some of the mini bots like Outback and all them. They could go with Rodimus, but primarily Rodimus Prime's gonna get his home shelf right here. Um, and then below him is where the Technobots will sit. And then followed by the train bots. And then it's gonna be I'll explain this in just a minute, but it's gonna be either between the monster bots and the wreckers for the this shelf here. And I'll explain that more when I get to this area because I'll explain this one last because it's gonna be a bit more involved. But and then on the very very bottom, I'll be taking one shelf out, and then that will leave room for two combiners, which will be Computron and Raiden. And then that will kind of round out my main sort of season 3 4 cast, at least in this section. There's be one more section, which I'll get to in a minute. But the reason why I put like both the monster bots and the wreckers here is because I don't know what exactly is gonna go here or which one I'm gonna just I haven't fully decided which one's going to go where, so I just kind of have them both here, um, just as a, like kind of like a guide almost. But on the right side is going to be we're going to have another Galvatron shelf. I really want to get that new Sovereign from Fans Toys, so he's going to go up here, maybe with some sweeps, maybe the Horicons will go with him. Haven't fully decided because I think the Horicons are really big, so they probably will look better on the shelf. But I have another spot in the collection where they might go. But yeah, like right below them, we'll have the Terracons because they're kind of like the enemy for the Technobots, so they're kind of squaring off there. And then we'll do Predacons, we'll do the Seacons, and then we'll do the kind of same thing with the Autobot. On the Autobot side, where we'll have Bronacon and Abominus, which are the combined forms of the Seacons and the Terracons. So it's all them. So yeah, that's going to be the Decepticon side of things. And then for the middle, the main part of the middle is obviously going to be to display Predaking. He's going to go right here. On the very, very top shelf, I'll be putting Skylight. I can't do anything on the top shelves for these two, just because it's going to be like riding up against a bunch of things on the like. There's a bunch of things like sticking out the roof down here, so I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot in this area here. So it's just going to be blank, but we will have enough space possibly for a Skylinks to go around top of this shelf here. So Skylinks goes here, and then below him, I might put either the monster bots or broadside. And if I do broadside here, I can also put them with some of the wreckers. So this is kind of what I hope to do. I think this would be a good sort of layout. Just because it would be a really because the broadside was part of the records in some of the Marvel comics, so I think that that'll be a kind of a good way to do this. And then if I do broadside in the records on this shelf, that will leave this shelf over here open for the monster bots, right? These guys over here. And I kind of like the idea of the monster bots being over here because they will kind of be uh, squaring up, so to speak, against the Seacons, and it kind of keeps the two sort of beast teams kind of leveled out, I suppose. I don't know how you describe that, but yeah, if not, the monster bots might go here, and I might put the records here, and then, or I'll do that if there's no space up here for broadside, and because I also want to have Overlord, right? I want to have Overlord down here on the Walmart shelf, so to speak. So the main plan right now, right, is put Overlord here, broadside up here with the wreckers, and then maybe put the throttle bots over here if they'll fit. But if I can't do broadside up here, he'll go here with Overlord, and they'll kind of share a shelf together, and then that will put either the wreckers or monster bots up here, and then put whoever else goes here. So, but my main goal is to put just Overlord and the Dreadwing guys together, and then put broadside up here, wreckers, monster bots, Predaking, throttle bots. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. But that's kind of like this is kind of the main sort of layout I'm kind of working with. It could always change though. If I decide I'm not necessarily married to a certain character, I might not include them, or I might swap them for something else, because at the end of the day, you kind of have to go through for the ones that you really want, and not just collect just for the sake of collecting. But it's kind of like the main sort of layout I got in mind. So, all right, so this is going to be the plan for the Autobot side of things, which is mostly just going to be these two shelves here, and they'd be worked out. So for the Gersby, earlier in the video, you kind of saw the Fembot shelf over here. Now I'm going to probably end up moving them over here. Obviously right here we have Omega Supreme Defensor here. We kind of went over that earlier, but I think that the plan is going to be to move the Fembots as well as maybe Alpha Trion if they ever make them in Masterpiece scale over here. Like get rid of the whole Prime shelf. The Fembots, the female Autobots, Leader 1, and all of them, they're going to go right here. And then that will kind of free up some space here. And so I'm thinking maybe like an Orion Pax and Alpha Trion shelf here, and then just do the Fembots here, keep Alpha Trion over here and stuff. But a lot of this is like could be swapped. This is kind of one that's kind of like could be swapped around. Up here, I'm going to be putting Star Saber if I ever get him. But obviously, we kind of went over Jetfire. He's going to go right here on the shelf, which hopefully I can get him this year. And then on the bottom shelves, it's kind of a toss-up. I could put Broadside here if I don't have any space in this shelf over here. So he might end up having to go over here if I have to. Don't really want to, because I think that you kind of do a big bot a disservice when you put them in like a really cramped space. I think that they need a big sort of area to kind of shine. But that's just me. But yeah, so below that will be like Twin Cast here. And it's going to make more sense when we get to the Decepticon side why I'm putting Twin Cast right here, giving him his own shelf. And then on the bots, we could possibly put the Throttle bots here, or Sentinel Prime, or whoever else. This is kind of like this whole area could be like whatever, like miscellaneous sort of characters that didn't really fit into other shelves. So, same thing. This one, like the Orion Pax one, could be changed out as well. I'm not married to that one as much, but it's just an idea, you know. So that's that side of things. Then for the Decepticons, it's kind of a mirror. We'll start off with the Insecticons. So, so originally, way back in the day, did I pull up this? Okay, I need to. Oh shit. Okay. Oh, no, okay. Okay. No. So originally, the Insecticons used to be right here on this shelf right here. So this used to be the original Insecticon shelf. The first one I did. But then I took that shelf and I kind of cut it down so that it would fit into this skinny shelf right here. Um, but I'm considering moving it over again, like making a brand new Insecticon shelf here because okay, so the reason why I moved them over, right? The reason why I moved this one in the first place was because I didn't really it was before I came up with the idea to kind of expand the room a bit more. Um and so so what I was thinking was maybe okay, if I don't have space for it, I can at least put like the Terracons over here on this shelf because it was like the only big space available on the Decepticon side of things. So like put Terracons there, maybe put Abominus next to Menasor, which I didn't really like the idea, but it would be the only like kind of option I would have in that at that point. But now that I have this layout in mind, though, that's kind of shifted my mindset, and so I'm probably going to have to build a new Insecticon diorama on this side, which gonna be a pain, but at the same time, it's been kind of fun because I actually had a really good time making that original diorama. And on the plus side, another thing where I want to possibly do is make room for deluxe Insecticons if they ever get made. So, and that's kind of like the benefit of doing this, having a whole is like having the option to have like more on display in the shelf now. So now I can be like, okay, well, if Extransbots or Fantoys, if one of these companies ever does deluxe Insecticons, I can at least have enough space for them on this shelf, right? Or I can put one of the jets on here or something like that, like whatever the case may be. But I also want to do that because I also want to just kind of keep season 1 and 2 all as tightly together as possible. Like these two shells, and same thing with the Autobots. I kind of want these two shells to be just season 1 and 2 mostly. The more I'm looking at it, that's why I kind of moved the Fembots here because they were part of season 2. So it kind of just makes more sense to me, even though Skyfire. Actually, I think that. I was kind of playing with the idea of maybe putting Skyfire on this shelf, like because um, that's something I didn't really touch on because I might be redoing the whole Autobot shelf right here, just because it's not really. It's good. I do enjoy that shelf a lot, but I really think I could do because it's really just like a backdrop I got online with like trees and a base layer. I really feel like I could do a whole lot more with this whole space here, um, with what I know now. So I might go back and redo this whole shelf. Um, and I was kind of thinking maybe putting Jetfire with them, but I think that would take up way too much space on the shelf, having his big ass there. So I think I'm just gonna keep him where he is. Um, that was just a thought I had. So back to here though. So the plan is to put Death Saurus up here to kind of mirror Star Saber because they were rivals. So I'm gonna put them on top here. And then below Bludgeon, because the Insecticons are moving back, I'll be putting possibly a Lockdown, possibly a Deadlock shelf because I do have Deadlock on the way, or pre-ordered rather. So, but a Lockdown's just a character I think is just really cool and I want to have in the collection. So he could go here, if I ever get him, and maybe look like some sort of like armory sort of background, a diorama for him, because that's kind of part of his characters that he has this whole armory that he's kind of stolen from the enemies he's because he's a bounty hunter, right? So he's collected trophies and weapons from his victims over the years. So he has a whole like big collection of weapons and stuff like that. So I think that'd be a cool diorama to kind of do. And down here we have Six Shot again, and just let me grab some water. Over here, we have the Sound Blaster shelf, which, to be honest, I wasn't sure if I was going to be keeping this diorama because I was, for months I've been kind of playing with who's going to go where, who's going to be on which shelves. But if I keep this plan right here, I think I'm going to keep him where he is. I'm keeping Sound Blaster where he is. Um, and because of that, he's going to kind of mirror against Twincast, who was his rival in the show. So that'll all kind of make more sense. And so obviously, because like we'll have more symmetry going on with that whole spiel there. So yeah, Sound Blaster shelf is going to stay, and as you can see, there's actually this really cool effect that I was kind of going for, which I'll probably show off once we actually do the whole diorama stream. For this, is I actually embedded the floor with the cassette tapes, so it's not done yet on this side because I'm missing one more. But I thought it'd be really cool if in the floor, because the whole point of this is supposed to be the lab that the cassette tapes rebuilt Soundwave in. Because the whole episode in the Headmasters cartoons, where so Soundwave gets killed in a fight with Blaster, right? And so on the planet Char, where this becomes a kind of taking base refuge for most of the season 3 and 4. Laserbeak and all them, they kind of take his body to this lab where they kind of resurrect him into a new body. So that's where Sound Blaster came in, which was his new designation. So he was just kind of like a black and silver red repaint of Soundwave, basically. So the idea for this diorama was to kind of recreate that sort of lab. But I thought it'd be really, really cool if like there was like a little in the flooring, you'd have like the cassette tapes kind of lining the floors. Like maybe these are like extras or something like that for new cassette tapes, minions or whatever, or however that would go down. So that's kind of the whole point of this. So it's meant to be kind of almost like a Soundwave shrine sort of shelf almost. So, but and on the shelf, yeah, we have this like little barricade custom I did, which is pretty sad. I'm probably not going to keep it. Probably just to put it off to the side somewhere. But he's just there for now. And then these last two shelves down here are kind of a mixed bag. It could go either way. It depends on what comes out. It depends on what fits. But the main ideas I'm throwing around is maybe doing a Nemesis Prime shelf, do a Horicon shelf, Slipstream, Tarn, maybe the DJD could go here. Not fully realized just yet. So I'm just kind of just letting things kind of flow as they are. And for the last main like big sort of change to the collection will be the Titans, which is going to go right here where this big sort of compartments of Lego pieces are. Now, a big part of the expansion plan is to move all of my Lego from this room that I'm in currently out into the other side of the basement and have and build a little Lego sort of studio room sort of in there. So all the Lego from this room, this side of the room, and this side of the room right here are all going to move. So, and what's going to go here is going to be these guys. This is where the city bots are going to come in. So, my throat's dry as hell. But yeah. So I thought maybe to shift the shelves down a bit, and so that I could put the Autobots on the other side of the room, but I don't know if I want to do that. I think I just want to do this where I just have them on the sides here. So I don't really think I need to do all that because it's just a pain in the ass to kind of move these shelves anyway. So as much as I'd like to keep Autobots on one side, this stuff comes on the other side. I don't think it's going to be the best option here. So, but on this side for the Autobots, it's going to be kind of a little bit of a mirror effect again because I like my mirrors apparently. But we're going to have Metroplex on top. It's going to be kind of similar to how the combiner shelves are kind of laid out, where we'll have this kind of shelf right here, but for both of them. So that way there'll be space for the two guys here to kind of face off against each other. So we'll have Metroplex and Trypticon. And then for that one, I'll probably have to put him in like a fighting stance though, because Trypticon's a big guy. So he might have to be put on an angle or a fit, but it's a big kaiju dinosaur thing. So, but yeah, for Autobot side, we'll have Sandstorm underneath Metroplex. On this shelf, might put a few other characters like Minerva, Cerebros, like maybe some of the headmasters that were part of the Titans, like so like six gun and Cerebros would probably go here as well. And then we got the headmasters and target masters, which I think I'm just gonna go 3 on each team. Because they probably will only these shelves will only fit 3. So and because I'm not as like because I know there are more like headmaster and target masters. I'm just gonna go with the main 3 ones though. Just because I'm not as connected to the headmasters and target master stuff as because I was more into season 1 and 2 characters, right? So I think just so the whole purpose of this just to have like the representation there. So um so just to have the main sort of 3 or 4 members, I think that'll be just fine. So we'll have headmasters, target masters, then we'll have Fortress Maximus down here. And then that will be the end of the Autobots for the most part. So that's my plan for season 1, 2, and that's my plan for season 3 and 4 characters right here. Then on the Decepticon side, we'll kind of do the same sort of thing. Trypticon. We'll have Octane here with Runabout and Runamuck maybe. And then we'll have Headmasters, Target Masters, and then Scorponok. So 2 big guys on the bottom, the 2 big guys on the bottom, 2 big guys on top, and then 3 small shelves in the middles. So that's kind of where we're going with this layout here. So that's kind of the plan for the main display. But I have a few extra little ones here. So so in the basement here, right? I had this little there's kind of like this wood sort of bump out where I put my Wolverine claws right here, which are pretty sick. Little uneven, but pretty cool. But I think the plan for this area is to put maybe like this is just kind of like a small, fun little idea I might do, where I might actually put the Carbots up here, like put a floating shelf along the line here, and then just kind of put all the cars on top of here, like put MP10 here. Any individual like cars I still have, I could probably put up here, so that they can still be kind of part of the collection, even if they're not part of the main display, So I think that'd become a really cool way to display like Prime and all that. And another, hold on, let's go back. So up here in the basement as well, like above the door, there's this like little nook over here. And I'm thinking about turning this into a shadow box for this guy, Megatron, in gun mode. So I think that would be a really cool way to kind of display him. So like maybe like put like some purple or black sort of felt in the background, paint this all black or something like that, and then maybe get a piece of acrylic, some lights, and then just put the gun mode in here. I think that'd be a really sharp sort of addition to the collection, just have a little piece of, just kind of have a, very statement sort of character, because then that'll kind of be, I don't know, I just think it'd be really cool, to have both the alt modes for the 2 leaders. So, and then over on this side, we have all my hot ladies, but they might get swapped out for this, which is pretty unimpressive, but what I'm thinking about doing in this space here is I'm putting I want to put some floating shelves over here, which would just be for like kind of miscellaneous figures, like the 13 primes could go here, the primes could go here, like just like any like little smaller sort of like things that mean something to me but don't really belong in the proper sort of collection. One shelf you have to go through. I forgot about. But anything that's small that still kind of means something to me, though, they'll kind of go in this space. And I'll probably replace the artwork because I have a bunch of like Transformers artwork upstairs, like some signed prints and stuff like that. I'll probably swap that over here, put them over down here, just kind of keep this room all Transformers. So there's a whole Transformers room down here, and then move all my Marvel, DC stuff somewhere else. Kind of give the space a bit more purpose, you know. But yeah, so that's the plan there. It's kind of like just like a smaller, less important plan, but you know, it's still there. I just gotta make sure I can actually do that, pull this off. Because you never know with these things in the basements, you know, if you're even allowed to use this. I have to ask around before I can do anything here. And if it's even possible to actually have a floating shelf, because you can just like, because I think I just want to get some like brackets on these shelves, like these little beams here, and then just kind of place the shelf on top, and then I can have some things going on there. But yeah, we'll see. But then over here, this is my 86 movie shelf. And not much is changing other than this side of things, the, the bottom shelves. So obviously they're pretty much filled with blockies or blokies, whatever you want to call them. But that's going to be a temporary thing. We're going to be moving them out at some point because they're going to get their own shelf in the Lego room. I'm going to have them because maybe I'll just talk about that another time. I'll say that for another stream or something like that. But right now there's kind of a placeholder for eventually putting in the Junkions and the Quintessons. So they're all going to go in this spot that way. That way they can kind of, you know, round out the 86 movie, just have all the 1986 movie characters in one sort of bookshelf. And then it's all good and done. So you have the main Autobot cast, the Decepticon cast, the big villain Unicron, and then the sort of side characters like the Junkions and Quintessons where they had their debut in that film. And up here, this might just be a fun little thing, but I might actually put the Matrix up here, like a replica of the Matrix, and put it up here, just because the Matrix was a big part of that film, anyways. That was a big sort of introduction to that sort of piece of mythology within Transformers. So, yeah, it'd be kind of a nice sort of addition, you know. I think to the just kind of tie it all together, you know. I thought about doing like a Cybertron up here, but I really don't want that Primus from from Zeta Toys or O1 Studios, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays. Like, I just don't want that thing because transforming Unicron was bad enough. I heard that Primus was worse. So yeah, I'm not really down for that. So, but yeah, that's it for that part of the stream. And so let's move on and we'll get to the next portion of the stream, which is where we'll kind of talk about my anticipated releases for 2026. So, you know, because of the expansion, obviously going into the new year, there might be some new releases that kind of get added to that, maybe, which we'll kind of get into in just a minute. Just need to pull up the video. And it's nothing special. I just made a quick little slideshow just to make it easy for me. There you are. There you are. Okay. So for releases, I didn't really put them into a top 10 list. I just didn't have time for that. I just wanted to kind of keep it simple and just kind of go over ones that I'm really looking forward to this year. So one of them being is Drift. This is their take on Drift, or rather Deadlock. This is so Deadlock is basically Drift before he became an Autobot. So his whole storyline in IDW was that he started as a Decepticon who used guns and all that stuff, and then he kind of switched factions because he kind of found that Megatron wasn't all. He kind of lost respect for Megatron. He lost a lot of faith in what he believed in and all that, and so he joined the Autobots, and he's kind of had a bit of an identity issue and stuff with that over the years. But very interesting character. But this is who he started out as Deadlock. So yeah, and this is a repaint of their current mold, but I haven't gotten that one yet just because I haven't really got the struts to get rid of the MMC one or the first one they released because that one kind of has a lot of sentimental value to me. The first Stray, um, but because of this release, I will have this guy. But the reason why that old Drift mold has a lot of meaning to me is because I got him when I first met Peter Cullen, Frank Welker, and Greg Berger when I was in Vegas. So um, that was so it's a very very meaningful piece in the collection. So, but yeah, I'll let the video play out. So yeah, Deadlock's a really cool character, and yeah, and also they do this. They're doing this thing where they're having a chase where it's like you might get where it's like you don't really know which version you're gonna get. There's gonna be two different versions. One that has more of a blacked out window, and then one with the purple. So you don't really know which one you're getting when you order one. So it's kind of a cool little thing to do, but it's kind of annoying at the same time if you really want one version. But I'm pretty cool with either. I would prefer the purple. I think the purple like just like looks really cool. Like just pops out. But I'd be cool with the black as well. So, but yeah, it's a very very cool looking character. Really excited for this one. Yeah, that dude. Yeah, I just love Mastermind Creation stuff. They're always like just they always do really cool stuff with their figures. They add a lot of character. You know, they're usually very well posed, articulated, so you get really good poses in. This is one I hope we see this year. Because I've had Minerva, I've had her paid for like a year now, and so I'm just waiting for them to release her finally. But not too sure if that's going to be the case this year, but you never know. You never know. Um, I think this year they're mostly going to be focused on finishing up their Devastator and their Defensor. So, um, and also starting their Scorponok, which I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, this is their Minerva. Very cool looking figure. Looks like a really good sculpt, and this is their Nightbeat, which is kind of like a remold of that. Another one that I also have on pre-order. So that's that's this is pretty funny too because he's kind of like a detective Autobot. So they gave him like this little this little Sherlock Holmes hat and then a little magnifying glass. So it's really cute. It's really funny. You know, I really dig stuff like that, like little funny things like that. Um, but yeah, another character that I'm kind of waiting for and hoping will release this year. And then the big one that kind of got announced at TFCon this year was Fans Toys Broadside because they're trying to probably because they're trying to step on Zeta because they're releasing the Broadside too. But yeah, it looks good. Yeah, it's really cool that they're doing the tune like two different because with Broadside he had two different looks in the cartoons sometimes like he and also in the comics like he had this kind of like goofy looking design here sometimes, but then he also was drawn like this. So it was very, very inconsistent back in the day than like most Transformers cartoons were. But yeah, it looks good. Backpack looks kind of a little bit junky, but not too bad. Um, I am curious to see this one. It would be cool to have this one actually in ship mode actually, and then put like smaller figures on top of it. That'd be kind of cool. Like to put the aerial bots on top here. But it's a cool looking figure that they kind of announced. Um, but this is the Studio One or the O1 Studio, Zeta, aka Zeta Toys version of Broadside as well. Um, which I think is the one I'm going to be getting because I think that the fan space is going to be a little bit bigger. I don't know what the size is yet, just yet. It's kind of there's a lot of like, speculation on how big these guys are going to be, but I'm more inclined to go for the smaller one just because it'll fit better in the collection most likely. So so that's kind of where my money is going is whichever one's the shortest, you know. Not embarrassingly small because that'd be bad too, but Like for me, I'd be happy if he's like just the same height as like Jetfire. Like I think that'd be just fine. Like 13 inches tall. So, but yeah, he's a cool looking character. Like, it's a really cool concept. He's got an Autobot turning into a big sort of a ship like that. But alt modes are not really the strongest on. I think that for the alt modes, I think that Fans Toys really killed it. Versus here with Zeta Toys, I think they just kind of like a little dumpy, for lack of a better term. But yeah, not the worst, but not the best either. But bot mode looks pretty solid though, so that's what I'm really looking forward to. And another one from X Transbots, that's their hook, which I think is supposed to be coming in January or February. That's what I heard. So that'll be a big one to kind of round out my Constructicons. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one, just to kind of finish up that team. And to go with him, before we get there's the vehicle mode for Hook. He turns to like a little crane, and this is for his combined form. I'm not going in on the set for combined mode, obviously, because I have the Toy World Devastator. I'm not really planning on swapping that out. But for bot mode, I definitely will be using these guys for that. And here's another one I hope we get to see at least some images of, and that's Mixmaster, because we just have not seen anything from him this year. We've just or ever really we haven't seen any CAD, any prototypes, nothing. Like we just see nothing. So so I'm really hoping we get to see at least something this year from Mixmaster, and then hopefully they finish up their team, and that'll be a nice way to kind of end 2026 at least, with the Constructicons, the Defensor, and yeah. And hopefully they'll announce a new combiner team after this. I've heard that it's going to be another season 2 one, so maybe like an Aerialbot or a Superion or a Bruticus, but not really the market for those two right now, so I'm not really all that concerned with it or care about it. So yeah, Mixed Masters one I really want to see. And speaking of Defensor, this is their hotspot, which is still in the dark, so to speak. But this is kind of why. But this is the image I kind of saw. I'll show the next one. But this is the image I saw a while ago that I really liked, which is what made me want to go for both the combined mode as well as the individual bot mode for hotspot for Max Transbots. Is because the MMC one, even though I have the limbs for MMC, I'm not going to go for hotspot for theirs just because I think he's a little bit too bulky, a little bit too built, like a beefcake. This one is kind of a bit more streamlined to me, and so it kind of fits better for my sensibilities. So that's why I'm going to go for both combined form as well as individual bot modes. However, if they come out with a kit that kind of replaces him inside of Defensor, so to speak, because the Defensor parts are going to be separate from the hotspot. So from what I understand, that's going to be how they kind of build that. But yeah, so this is one I really hope comes out this year, though. Just to check another one off the list, so to speak. But and this is what their Defensor looks like, or this is just like a prototype of or just a CAD image of their Defensor. So hopefully it is much more solid than their Menasor was. Apparently their Menasor was very, very unstable. So hopefully this time around they've learned their lessons. But yeah. And a big announcement that came out this year at a TFCon, the last TFCon, or the TFCon before this last TFCon, so to speak, is we got an announcement of Technobots from Fans Toys. So really looking forward to this set. This is Strafe. Looking pretty good. Looking a little junky in the legs here, but that's fine. Whatever. I don't mind. And there's the vehicle modes. They're very, very techie based, and this is going to be for their Computron. And he turns into the arm. So, yeah, really looking forward to this one. Along with their Afterburner, who I'm guessing. So for TFCon this year, I'll get to it at the end of this once we get through my anticipated. But I'll do a little bit of a. We got a little bit of time. We can do a little bit of a speculation sort of bit. But yeah, this is their afterburner. Looks pretty cool. Oh, I should have gotten the images of the one because one guy actually used AI to put color on these guys, and it looked really fucking cool. But yeah, this is what he turns into. It turns into a little drill bit. Is this nose cone? It's maybe nose cone, not afterburner. Might have gotten them wrong. Yeah, I think that's nose cone. Okay. Yeah, I think nose cone is the one with the drill. But and he turns into the leg. So, but yeah, those are the Technobots, which is one I'm really looking forward to this year. And this is a big announcement from X Transbots. They're Scorponok, at least just the head so far, which apparently is going to be 40 inches tall, like the kind of like, or not four, I think it's going to be like 40 inches. I don't know. It's going to be in that same sort of scale as that new Metroplex and all that. So, or as the Fans Toys Fort Max. So, not sure I'm going in on this for Scorponok mode, but I probably will. I might go in on it for just the individual bots, like these guys. I might go in on just for these guys because I think I'm going to go with the Earthrise version of Scorponok. I don't need a 40-inch robot in my collection. Like, that's way too big, you know? Like, even for the space I have planned for it, it won't work. Or for that character, it won't work, you know? So, but these guys, these little guys might work. So I might go with these guys, but the rest, I probably won't. Um, this was a bigger reveal, actually. Craftsman Toys, the guys who made that mini legend scaled Computron, they're doing a set of Seacons, which is pretty cool. This is their overbite. So, but they are a little more stylized, kind of more in vein with the Kang Toys Predacons. So I think it might be the same. I heard it might be the same designer. I'm not mistaken, but they do look pretty cool. Not sure it's going to be for my collection though. I'll have to see. I have to wait and see how the Piranha Con turns out. I might, cause if I don't like it for bot modes, I might enjoy it for the combined form. Like, so I might go in on this set as well, if that's the case. So yeah, it looks pretty cool for what they're going for. Um, I'm just going for more like kind of like inspired by the cartoon look. This is what he looks like combined, like in lore. So he's a very, very, very cool looking character, you know, at least to me. But yeah, this actually these characters are actually part of the reason why I just bought this whole big bag of like seed plants, like for dioramas and stuff like that, because I really wanted to like an underwater sort of a diorama for these guys. I think that'd be really fucking cool. But yeah, there's the Seacons. Um, another one from X Transbots that's supposed to be coming out this year is their Slugslinger, which is part of their Target Masters. So not sure I'll be getting him this year. I haven't got what's his name yet, but this is their toy version, toy deco version. Which for those who don't know, when the G1 cartoon was being made, it was kind of being made at the same time the toys were made. So the toys weren't always accurate to what was in the cartoon, and vice versa. And so because of that, a lot of these third-party companies, masterpiece companies, um, they'll release the same figure but in different color schemes or different with different deco. So for Slugslinger, he kind of looked more like this in the cartoon, but in the toy version, he looked more like this. So that's why sometimes they'll come out with a different variation of the same character, um, like that. Um, because some fans might be more nostalgic towards the toy more so than the cartoon, but then there'll be fans who prefer the cartoon over the toys. It's kind of like meant to be give you the kind of the best of both worlds sort of deal there. But yeah, this is their Slugslinger, so really nice they're actually giving us the whole Target Masters crew. So that'll be nice for people to kind of finish off their shelves. And this is another one that's actually on pre-order for me. That's the blocky stuff, which I'm pretty much I'm both excited for, but also I kind of need to take a step back from a little bit. Because on one hand, I really love everything, pretty much everything Blockies is doing, but on the same in the same note, I might need to cut back just a little bit because they are taking over too much space right now. So I might need to kind of just like rethink things with that stuff. Might whittle some stuff down, but I am really looking forward to a lot of the stuff they're doing. But I do have this guy, not Bruticus specifically, but the parts for him. But I have this whole set kind of coming, which is the newer Defenders line, which is really cool. They give us some Beast Wars characters. Got Perceptor, Magnus, Rodimus Kron. We got Dinobots. We got Astrotrain. We've got, Combaticons. So we're getting the Dinobot Combiner as well pretty soon, most likely. That'll probably be the next one they do after Bruticus. But yeah, I'm really in on the blocky stuff. Like, I'm more into the Defender stuff. I'm kind of realizing I kind of like this stuff more than the taller ones, but the bigger figures. But yeah, this is the other one I got on pre-order because I just needed that Starscream. that shattered glass Starscream right there. Just looks sick. But yeah, we also got some new Shockwave, new Megatron, new Prime, Reflector, which is a new one for this wave, and a new Wheeljack. So it's gonna be really, really cool sort of set of figures from their Shining Wave. These are the versions that actually light up. Their eyes will light up, so it's really a really cool feature. So. And lastly, wait, what the hell? Where'd they go? Oh, I did not include them. Shit. Oh, I must have cut them out. Okay, so, okay. Do I have them here somewhere? I don't think so. Shit. Shit. And post them up here. Oh, okay. We'll save it for this. Actually, I'll pull up this picture for instead. Actually. Okay. Let's go here and share screen. But this is a new one, that new part of the collection that I'm really going nuts over, like returns. That's the Joy Toy Ninja Turtles right here. I am really loving these guys. And yeah, and I just ordered Shredder, I just ordered Splinter, Casey, and April. So all four of those guys are coming too. So maybe I'll do a whole stream just talking about this actually, though. Or at least maybe do a draw stream where I talk about it a bit more. But they are going to be part of the expansion. I'll just say that they'll be put up part of the other side of the room for that part of the expansion of the collection. But yeah, all I can say is you can definitely expect a lot of dioramas for Ninja Turtles coming around. So hey, Alaska Jeff, good to see you. Sunny and Brand Ninja Turtles. Yeah. Yeah, so we've just been going over kind of my most anticipated releases for this year, and then we'll just kind of do an overview of what I accumulated this year. And so, yeah, this is one of my favorite, and this will be and it's like one of my favorite releases or ones I got this year was the Turtles. They're just really fun figures, like really fun to pose. Like at first, you don't think that they're posable, like very articulated, but you can get a whole lot out of these guys, like more than you think. You just gotta push the boundaries just a little bit, but yeah, they're really, really cool little guys. So yeah, I'm going all in on these turtle stuff here. So that's that. And so with that out of the way, we did my most anticipated releases for 2026. Let's do a quick little tier list of my personal favorite that figures that came out this year, or that I acquired this year, because not all of them came out this year that I got, but okay. Let me just get my thing ready. And so we're kind of just going to rank them based on which ones I liked, which ones I didn't like, because there are a few I didn't like this year. But okay, just making sure there's no repeats. Okay. Let's get rid of all these ads before I open up. Stop seeing this ad. Uninterested. Well, I am interested in that thing, but I can't look at it right now. It's my way. Why do they do this to me? Stop. Just cover my shit. Get out of here. Let me get an ad blocker. All right, whatever. All right, let's go back to my StreamYards and share screen. And this one. Okay, so start from the very bottom. You'll have stinkers. We'll have, let's see, what S tier stuff. So the best of the best. Best. Actually, not this dog crap. Dog crap. No. Nah. Let's do stinkers. It's funnier. Very good. Meh. Decent. All right, that's fine. Keep it simple. All right, so first on the list would be Blastoff from Magic Square, and that's a really good figure. That was actually a really good figure. It's a more kind of one of the later figures that came out this year, but it's pretty solid offering from them. So I'll go very good. Oh, Long Haul definitely goes at the best. It's a very awesome figure. Now this one came out last year, but yeah, but I got him this year, so yeah. But he's a really great figure. Like all the Constructicons have been really great. I thought about doing just a whole team of Constructicons for one list, but then I had to do that for the Combaticons. I only got 3 this year, so Ninja Turtles, the best, number 1. Sorry, long haul. The very best are the Turtles this year. I'm just gonna be honest. Onslaught, I think he's very good. I'd say very good. Blade's decent from Mastermind Creations. Which is more than I can say for the other offering, but I liked Bone Crusher, but not as much as Long Haul, so I'll put him up in very good. The orange. Dead End. Gotta be honest. Dead End was kind of a letdown. Not a horrible letdown, but yeah, he was just all right. I'll put him in decent. He wasn't horrible, but he could have been better, especially for today's standards. But Slingshot was pretty good. Pretty good figure, so I'll go with very good. First Aid. I don't know how to judge First Aid because I only messed with him in his arm mode because I never played them in or messed around or transformed him into his robot mode. So, I'm just judging him based on my personal preference, like ones I like the most. The only problem with this is that I haven't actually fully messed around with each mode specifically. Just because I don't really transform a whole lot of my figures, just because I've had a history of breaking things, so I try to only mess with them when I need to because I mostly get these for display purposes mostly. So especially for the combiner teams, like because I already have one. Because I the way I do my collection is I like to have the combiner teams sort of separate from the actual combined form. So I like to have Devastator right, and then have the Constructicons on different shelf. That sort of deal. So I haven't actually transformed some of these Constructicons or Combaticons, for example, just because that's not the mode I'm displaying them in. So I don't really need to transform them and risk breaking them because they are very, very fiddly. They can be fragile sometimes, depending on which company you go for. So I try not to mess with them too much like that. But I'm just going by ones I've enjoyed the most when I got them and all that, which ones have kind of stuck out to me the most. But for first aid, I didn't really mess with a whole lot because I'm using the X transmods for the combined mode for Defensor and not for the individual bots on the shelf. So for first aid, I think that so for an arm, I should probably just have that arm mode. Honestly, I probably should have done that. That would make more sense. But I say he's a very, very solid arm, so I'm gonna give him the very good. So I've heard very, very good things about him in rollout mode. So I'll just give him the point there for that. Um, Steeljaw was pretty decent. I'll put him in decent. I probably enjoyed him more than Dead Ends, to be honest. But Vortex, very, very good. I think I'm gonna put him on the best, honestly. Like it's probably my favorite of the Combaticons. He's like all the poses you can get out of this guy is really, really something else. Like he's a very, very posable figure. So it's a lot of fun to kind of mess around with, you know. Streetwise, I didn't really mess around this guy too much this year. I'll be honest, but I really got yeah. Okay, this guy right here, this motherfucker was such a pain in the ass to get because there's a bit of a story behind this guy. Um, so last year in that's stinkers. I'll put him in decent actually. I'd say I like that end more. Yeah, but this guy, Streetwise, I got so last year in around December, I was the first time I ordered this guy. However, in like January or February when he arrived, they gave me the wrong version because there's a the tune version and then the toy version. So they sent me the toy deco version instead of the tune version, which I still had that toy deco because I haven't sold them yet because I put them on and it's annoying because I put them on the lowest price imaginable and I can't sell them, but whatever. But then I went to order him again from another place, and I think they said it was. I think they when they sent him, he came broken. So I was able to get a refund for both of those ones. So I was able to get like a half refund for both. So I was good. But then the third time I tried to order him, I ordered him like two more times, I think, from different sellers, one on AliExpress, one on eBay, and they both said that they were out of stock afterwards, after the fact. So I was just like, can I not have a Streetwise? I'm just destined to never have one. Like God is telling me not to have a Streetwise for some reason. Um, but so eventually I just like settled on the one from Shozy Store because that's the place I usually get my Transformers from, and just kind of waited for the reissue. So I was just like, fuck it, I trust these guys. They're not going to screw with me. So I bought him. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna wait. Just yeah, it was a bad time for me for this guy for some reason. You know, do Bionicles count as Transformers from a different company? Yeah, I guess. I mean, they can be whatever you want. You could probably build a transformer out of those like old like Lego Bionicle stuff, too. So, but yeah, Streetwise is a pain in the ass to finally get, but I'd say it's probably decent. I don't really have enough time to really mess around my figures too. Like I'm always like working and stuff. So, but he's a really good solid figure. So Scavenger was really good. I'd probably put him in very good. Probably I think I liked him better than Slingshot. um, I'll reorganize these ones in a minute. which ones I preferred more. But Blitzwing definitely was the one I really enjoyed. He's just such a good looking figure, this guy. So I think I'm gonna go. Uh, I think he. I think he needs to be on very good. Just because I can't really judge the vehicle modes as much or the transformations for that matter. So I'm just going to kind of go based on the robot mode. And for the robot mode, I think he's very, very good. So I'll go. I'd probably put him before Blast Off. Yeah, I'll put him number one for that one. I think I'll put the Constructicons before the Combaticons. And then yeah, you know what? I'll keep Slingshot over here. Um, just because he's, even though I like the way he looks, he's not the most fun to kind of like pose and stuff like that. That's the only problem with him because he's not very posable. Um, because he has a lot of like backpack kibble and stuff like that. So he's not the most fun figure to mess around with, but he's definitely a lot of fun to. But that definitely looks really good on a shelf. So, um, speaking of aerial bots, we also got their Silverbolt from Fans Toys. I've got to say, he's a very cool figure. Like he looks really fucking good. So I got to put him right here. Yeah, I'd probably put him above Bone Crusher, maybe in between Bone Crusher and Scavenger. Um, but next up is Six Shot. Yeah, he's definitely got to be number one for the Transformers. That was a like it's an older piece. It's been around for a couple years now, but I really love that figure. Like it's has so much presence on the shelf, you know. So I gotta put him up there. Um, Now we're getting into the big stinker of them all, and that's the blades from X Transbots. Like I've got to put you in the fucking hole. This is one that I actually did mess around with and try to transform and stuff like that because he came packaged in robot mode. And I'm only going on this set for the combined form, so I just needed him for arm mode. And getting into arm mode just sucks. It just sucks. Like there's so many weird fucking decisions they make with the legs and a little bit in the torso. The torso is not as bad. Like the upper body is not as bad as the legs. The legs are just awful. Like there's like so many tiny little panels that you gotta position properly, you know. And then and even when you do put them into the arm socket of the combined form, it just pain in the ass. And even in Arma is not as solid as their uh, first aid. So uh, yeah, yeah, he has to go in stinkers. And then for Scrapper from X Transbots, they've got to go at the very best. So that was a very, very good figure for yes, because I think the reason why the Protectobots like kind of suffered a little bit more than the Constructicons. I think the Constructicons are designed by a different designer. So the old designer for the Protectobots, I think that's part of the reason why the designs are a little bit outdated. So not as good, not as well built, not as well engineered. You know, it's just a very like I've had bad or not bad, but just kind of tricky transformations. But this one just made me angry. I'll be honest with you. Um, but yeah, so for the very best, let's kind of reorganize the list a little bit. Actually, I think Blaze should probably go a little bit closer to here. I think I prefer, yeah, I think that actually, I'll put him more in that. A little bit underwhelming. Definitely better than X Transbots for sure, like by a long shot. Like, you know. But yeah, not the best. Like it didn't have as much. paint in it. Not as refined as as the other protect bots from Mastermind Creations, but yeah, he's gonna go right there. But I really like their Steeljaw. Their Steeljaw is really well built, really well designed. So, and then let's see. I'm just trying to think about the ones I've messed with the most, because I think that the ones I mess with the most are tend to be the best ones because you know what? I think I need to move the Combaticons up a bit more. Yeah, 'cause I definitely messed with Onslaught more than now. Granted, with Blitzwing, he's a newer figure that just arrived, so you know. But I want to build a Transformers with Mona. Well, you can get one if you go to RoboSen and buy their Transformers. If you got $1,000 to spare, which I want one so badly, but I can't afford it. That's the worst thing. But if I was to able to afford one, I would definitely go for Grimlock or Prime, or it'd be between Megatron, Prime, Grimlock. Gosh, I want them all. I'm thinking about it. I really want that sound. Because they just came out with a sound wave. Oh yeah, yeah. You know, yeah, that'd be really cool to see you do that. Um, Too creative to buy one. I'll just do it myself. Yeah. DIY Transformers. Yeah. But let's see. I think I liked. Did I like Scrapper more than I did Vortex? Or these ones I'm kind of debating. I think I like Scrapper the most. I like Constructicons. So I'll put them up above. But I think I like Vortex a lot more than Long Haul. So I'll put him here. How many have I bought? Oh shit. Um. uh. Okay. Give me a minute. I'll give you as accurate of an answer as I possibly can. Not including the blocky stuff. That would just make it a huge number. Um, okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 15, 14, 64, 63, 64. 5, 6, 7, 11, 112, 17, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126, 7, 8, 9, 30, 2, 6, 7, 8. About 144 is how many I think I have. Um, and that's not including any of the older stuff or any of the newer blocky buildable figure stuff. Like, yeah, about 140 right now. So too many, too many. Um, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hold on. I guess I'm pretty much done with this list. Uh, I'll show off in a minute. I'll show off another again in just a minute. I just want to finish off this list and then we'll kind of call it a wrap. I think I like Onslaught just a little bit more than Silverbolt, but yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, it's a pretty accurate list of how I feel about my purchases this year. So, all right, we'll move on. And yeah, I'll really quickly, I'll just go, I shall do this. I'll just show off my short. This will give you just a rough idea of what I'm working with here. Just real quick. uh, this one. There. That's my main Transformers collection space. So I got my Decepticons on one side. They're kind of mixed up in the middle here with the 86 movie cast. So like all from the 1986 Transformers movie are all going to go in here. So, and then on the left side is all my Autobots. So yeah. So it's basically 144, not including these little guys in here. There's a lot of little things in here that I also started buying. So yeah, it's pretty big, and it's getting bigger. So it's not getting any smaller. So, but yeah, it's a very impressive collection. I think it's good. Definitely, my prized possession is still going to be the Dinobots up here. They're my favorites. Maybe I gotta do that. I gotta do like a whole. I gotta do like a full like top 10 list of my all-time favorites. So I will have to cheat and put all 5 Dinobots on on just one tier. But yeah, that's the space I'm working with here. But as I kind of went through in the stream, we are going to be expanding quite a bit in the near future. Like I'll kind of go through it again. So just real quick. Wrong thing. Let's open this up. Okay, so like the idea for the movie bot shelf, I'm going to be putting the Matrix up top here. Going to be putting the Junkions and Quintessons to kind of round out the 86 movie. But yeah, so this is what you can kind of expect in the future. At least this is the plan I'm kind of working with. So the idea is going to be to kind of move out all these shelves right here. Because it's all basically just like Lego and kind of stuff like that. So I want to have a whole room in the basement just for Lego stuff, and then keep this whole room where I'm in right now all just Transformer stuff. And so, and so the main room I just showed you was all 1986 movie, season 1 and season 2. So the expansion here, adding these 3 shelves here, will allow me to do season 3 and 4 in a way that kind of makes sense. And so this will kind of be. I kind of went through the whole cast earlier, so if you want to replay the stream, I went kind of more in depth on what I'm going to be doing here with these characters, but yeah, and obviously going to do some changes, not very minimal changes to the main layout right now. But also on this side of the tape where you can actually kind of see you can see my computer right here. This is how close I am actually to the stuff. But there's a whole like section of Lego parts in this area that's all going to move out as well, and we'll replace that with more shelving here for my Transformers. So for more season 3 and 4 Transformers here. So and a few little smaller areas, like there's this like little bump out that I might put like a floating shelf on top of, which just have my Wolverine claws here because why not? Why wouldn't you have Wolverine claws in your collection? But I'll probably move that out with the Lego stuff too. Maybe put it with like a Marvel section. But I want to I'm playing with the idea of putting like a floating shelf on top here just so I can display the Transformers in truck mode or their car modes or whatever. So put like Prime up here, just above here. The only problem with this idea though is that this bump out is right above my head right now. So if someone's stomping upstairs or something like that thing could like fall down and knock me out. But hopefully that doesn't end up being the case. But I think it'd just be a really cool place to kind of put them, you know. And then I'll go back a little bit. And there's this little kind of like this like little like nook in the above the door. And I kind of want to put Megatron in gun mode up there, like maybe in like some sort of like shadow box there. just to kind of make this area look a bit more. I don't know, just clean this up a bit more because it is kind of like a dirty, grungy sort of thing. So KO, yeah, KO, yeah, yeah. And over here, I'm thinking about maybe putting some floating shelves where all the hot ladies are, which will be moved probably somewhere else. I'll probably because I have a bunch of like Transformers prints and stuff upstairs, so I'll probably move them down here, move these guys upstairs somewhere else, and then maybe put some floating shelves here just for kind of like miscellaneous like stuff that doesn't really belong in the main sort of masterpiece collection, but still kind of holds some value to me. Like these all these extra primes, like they could probably go up here. Anything else like kind of like that I don't really want to get rid of, sort of stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of like the idea for the expansion going into the next year that I'm uh planning on at some point, hopefully. Um Not sure when it's going to happen, just because I have to make sure the room for the Lego room area is going to be curated properly. 'Cause there's a bunch of bins and stuff like that kind of still strung about over there, so I got to clean that out. Put some carpet in, put some lighting in, and then put some shelving in, and then I can move all my Lego out there, and then I can start, getting the Transformers room start going, and then that'll be how the expansion goes, and we'll go from there. And with that, there will be more diorama streams, more, collection updates, obviously, and just like a lot more. I'll just kind of add a more sort of a personable space because Transformers are a big part of the channel and myself, my hobbies. It's a very very important franchise to me, so it means a lot to get this whole room kind of filled with my childhood love of Transformers. So that's basically the plan here. So um yeah, I think that kind of covers everything I want to do for the stream. Just want to do kind of a I did a bit of a just do a bit of a kind of a roundup of what I've gotten this year, what I liked the best this year, um, the plans for next year, and so yeah. One thing I definitely need to do though is get back to the draw streams though. That's one thing I really need to get back into because I did kind of take a bit of a step back a little bit because especially near the end of this year because in September and October, I'll blame this on my family because it's all my blame because I decided to go all out for Christmas this year and I decided to learn how to do spray paint art really quickly. I decided I was going to teach myself spray paint art in the course of 1 or 2 months, and so I made these like really nice like paintings for my family for Christmas. And I was working within a very small window because here in Canada, Alberta, uh, you have maybe September and October and a little bit of November before the snow really starts to come around. So I made these. So I had to get it all done in 2 months time. So I made a really nice. So I made a really actually a pretty nice Demon Hunters painting for my nieces, like the K-pop stuff. I did a couple planets for some people because planets are kind of the go-to for most new spray paint artists because more easier to do that stuff than other things. And so yeah, I'm Canadian. I'm up here in Canada. Yeah, actually, I did see a moose actually on one of my road trips. Actually, my work trips. Yeah, we saw a mother and a baby. I think when we were going up uh, north. So yeah, actually, I think it might have been my first Alberta, or I'm in Alberta. So not gonna say which city. I'm gonna keep that to myself. But I'm in the best part of Canada. I'll just put it that way. But where the fuck was I? Uh, all right, another part of the expansion actually is going to be the Ninja Turtles stuff. because well, I guess I'll because it's all kind of part of. Oh, should I just wait? You know what? I might just do the art. Oh no. Okay, I was talking about art. I was talking about art on the channel. But yeah, so I've been wanting to kind of get back into the art, the draw streams a bit more this year because because I was doing that spray paint sort of thing in September and all of October. It kind of pushed my skills back a little bit, like because if you don't draw for a certain amount, like if you take a way too long of a break from drawing, it can really mess with your ability later on. Uh, you know, and so it is kind of a struggle to kind of get back into it sometimes. So this year is going to be me just trying to crack down on myself and just like get back into the swing of things because in the price of trying to do so many different techniques and different styles of art is that one style might suffer because of it. So you kind of have to practice, just keep it in practice at all times. So it's kind of a gift and a curse of being an artist and whatnot. But yeah, so that's gonna be what I do for the channel. I also want to do more shorts on this channel. I want to do more specifically drawing shorts, like short videos and stuff like that, because I just found that you get a lot of because you get a lot of views doing shorts. Like I just posted that one Transformers clip, that one I just showed off, and it got like 200 views already. I was like, holy shit! It's like might be a good way to kind of grow the channel a bit more, this year. I've been kind of slacking off on building the channel because I've just been doing so much stuff lately. Because before it used to be a little bit easier to plan things out on my channel, because so a couple of years ago I started taking more out of town work for my job, and so because of that, but before that, I usually had my weekends off. So I was able to work during the week and then just have my weekends off. And then that way it was easier to kind of plan out a color stream or painting stream or whatever I was doing that back then. But nowadays, now that I take more out of town shifts, it's a little bit difficult because sometimes I'll be away on weekends. So I won't have anything for the weekend at all. Or, I won't be able to draw because I can't really draw in the car on the road trips because it's very bumpy roads and stuff like that. So it's hard. So unless the hotel I'm staying at is very good, or has like a very, very good desk, I'm not going to be able to work on anything. So, um, and so, yeah, so, but I still want to but with doing shorts, I might actually be able to, do more on on the channel, at least kind of, adds just to kind of add sort of a little snippets of content on the channel. Just kind of tie people over till I do like streams and stuff like that, so and that's kind of like the idea behind doing this shorts. And I might just do it like where I do my pencils and inks in shorts, and then for the live streams we'll do the coloring process and all that stuff. Um, but the good thing this year though is that I got a new laptop, which is kind of a gift and a curse because I do have to. So I did use a credit card to pay for it, so I am kind of that's also part of the reason why I don't know what's going to happen in 2026. Mainly in the initial months because I still have to kind of pay this off. So um, but I should be able to do this next because I usually get a lot of work in December or in January and February, so it shouldn't be a big problem. But yeah, I will have to cut back a little bit on spending and stuff like that. So it will be it'll be a different kind of you know, first couple months of this year, but I'll make it work. I'll make it work because that's what human beings do. Faced with challenges, we make it work. So, but on that note, yeah, I kind of wanted to. Maybe I'll do it another time. I'll do because I wanted to cover my theories or my speculation for TFCon this year, but I think that'd be better for another stream. Because we are still kind of 3 months away from yeah, actually that was one thing I actually wanted to do this year. I didn't get around to doing was I really wanted to get a proper portfolio made, which I haven't. So Yeah, the best place to see my art would be on my Twitter page. And maybe I'll quickly post my Instagram. I have an Instagram. I don't use it as much, but but I do have quite a few pieces of art on there. So I'll quickly post that in the chat real quick. But okay, slow as hell. Yeah, that was one thing I really want to do this year, but I just didn't get around to doing was create a proper or professional looking portfolio. I might try ArtStation. I'm just trying to feel around where I want to actually put it. If I want to make up my own website, or if I just want to go to like something like ArtStation or what have you. You know. Oh, now, asshole. What are you doing? Instagram, you suck. All right. All right. But yeah, so if you want to see my artwork, and you can go here on my Instagram page. I'll post whenever I have something. Like once in a blue moon, I'll post something. So, but yeah, I'm just looking through my Instagram. God damn, I haven't posted shit. But that's mostly because I hadn't made a whole lot of stuff lately because of my spray paint stuff. So but yeah, it's probably gonna be about it for the stream. I wanted to talk about TFCon, but that's not until March, so I think I'll kind of just wait a little bit. Because you never know, they might announce something that I already uh predicted would be shown off at TFCon. Because at TFCon, the big thing for me is just mostly the third party panels, because they'll usually show off um prototypes, they'll show off renders or fully painted versions of figures that are coming out. So I think I'll just wait until March comes knocking before I do that, because I'm getting a little bit tired here. So sit down, but now I have one coded from scratch. Yeah, I am not a coding guy at all. Like I tried coding in school once. I was just stupid at it. I was just like, what is this shit? I just don't. Like, I'm not a very I'm not the most like computer guy ever. Like I was always more physical growing up. I was always doing sports and stuff like that. So I was like just to show you how little I was into technology, like how much I cared about technology. Like aside from like video games and stuff like that, and computer like basic computer knowledge, like um, you know, like the first time I got my first phone, like actual phone, was like in high school. Like that's how little I really cared about um like technology and all that. So but I was more into like sports and like toys and shit, like Legos and all that. Like I was more into that stuff. But so I'm kind of a late bloomer when it comes to learning how like PCs and work and all that, because yeah, I need to get like a proper like gaming PC. Because I just have a crappy old Windows computer that I'm using. So, but yeah. On that note, I think I'm gonna call it a wrap right here. So, thank you to Dadman and Alaska Jeff for dropping by and chilling with me while I ramble about my toys, like a better term. And anyone else who's lurking, oh, I forgot. I put a damn poll that I forgot. But seems it's tied between Preceptor and First Aid. So yeah, I just kind of haven't really done a poll in a while, so end it at tie. So, but on that note, I will see you guys later, and I might talk to Dadman and see if I can pop on his channel tomorrow, because he's doing his uh New Year's around the world. So I think I might do that if he allows me, because I know I can be a bit of a bad boy on his channel sometimes. So, but But yeah, I might actually go live tomorrow, actually again in the morning because I might stream some more Jurassic World because I still need to finish up the Christmas park I was working on, the Winter Village thing. So I think we'll do that tomorrow, maybe in the morning at some point. But yeah, on that note, I think I'm gonna call it a wrap. Gotta rest my voice. So I will see you guys later. And god damn, I gotta update my blurps or my clips over here. I got nothing. All right. All right, since this is how I feel, I'll play this clip right now. So we'll play the Drunk Decepticons. So take care, everybody, and I will see you guys later.
Decepticons, a toast to the imminent destruction of the accursed Autobots.
Boy, these are good.
This stuff's the greatest. Those were the good old days back on Cybertron. Didn't have to sneak around in these ugly Earth disguises. Good old Cybertron, land of the metal moon.